Folks, we have a surprise today as we prepare to delve into our conversation on a very special topic at hand: mind, body, spirit connection, and shamanic practices, and many more. Here is an exciting twist. Let us tickle the brains of our guests, Rob and Gary, first. So, Rob and Gary, get ready for a rapid fire round of random words. I'll mention a few, and I would love to hear the first thing that comes to your mind in response without thinking much. If you are ready, let's dive in. I'll begin with Rob.
Go.
So, Rob, maybe you can say hi. All right. So, Rob, the first word for you is curiosity.
Wonder.
Invention.
Peace.
Future.
Now.
Book.
Sapiens.
Movie.
Dances with Wolves.
And here is the Sapiens. Okay. And Gary, it's your turn. And your first word is food.
Food.
Yeah.
Luxury.
Creativity.
Abundance.
Life.
Joyful.
Animal.
Love.
Planet.
Security.
And awesome. So, Rob and Gary, thank you so much for participating in the first rapid fire round. We have one more towards the end. Okay, so now let me welcome my audience. So, folks, welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, where we embark on transformative conversations for a better future. I'm your host, Naveen Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place through valuable discussions that add value not only to your life, but also to your career. And thank you so much for tuning in. And Rob and Gary, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice. I'm thrilled to have you here. And in fact, I need to acknowledge the fact that Parul Gupta, one of my team members, had made sure that you guys are invited here on the show because there is a surprise waiting for you towards the end. And I'll reveal it offline. I'm not going to reveal it in the episode, but there is some surprise. So hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice platform.
Exciting. Thank you.
So Gary, we'll begin with you. So please share the success mantra, as in the top 3 things that have contributed to your success so far.
3 things that contributed to our success.
Yeah, your success.
My dedication, devotion, and focus.
Dedication.
Those 3 things, very strong.
And you know, devotion and dedication were the house names during my school. Devotion, dedication, determination, courtesy, and those words are implanted in my brain. So kudos to my school principal.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And Rob, and the same question, what is your success mantra? Like, what are the top 3 things that have contributed to your success so far?
Remembering, devotion as well, and focus as well.
Okay. So this time we will go with Rob first. Please share the toughest lessons that you have learned as an entrepreneur.
I think the toughest lesson is that you are the one who is fully responsible, and you have to, there's no security blanket. There's no one that's going to rescue you. You have to learn how to open up and let the universe take care of you and get your own mind out of the way. And if you focus on your own heart, learn how to illuminate your own shadows, illuminate your unconscious being, then that's how you can really truly learn about who you're here to be. And it's really challenging to face yourself and face your unconscious ways.
Awesome. And that is so deep, Rob. And Gary, what is your toughest lesson that you have learned?
It is, I'd say, trust. Trust your inner knowing, and avoid the doubting Thomas that keeps coming into your head, saying, no, you can't do that. Or from somebody that you've heard from your past family members saying that you shouldn't do that. That's not what you need to do. And it's like, listen to your inner heart and your inner being on the direction you need to go, and just trust the divine timing is all going to work out for you. Sure, there's a little bit of fear that comes in there, but there's fear and excitement. And we both know the fear and excitement knows that it's time to grow and move forward in our life and make sure our head is going in the right direction with our body, that our body isn't moving forward and our head is not looking behind. So we're not blindly leading forward. We're actually seeing the direction we're going. We may not know the outcome, but whatever it is, we're okay with it. And if it doesn't turn out the way we want it to, then it's a lesson to learn and to redirect and move forward.
As I speak to you guys, I see a lot of composure. Like you guys are, I don't have words to express. Like I think you guys are truly yourself, and in fact, you're living in the moment. I think I have to get there. So on that note, Gary, this question is to you. So can you share your own personal journey and how it led you to explore the mind, body, spirit connection, as well as shamanic practices as a means of healing and also self-discovery?
Brilliant. I love the question. I always say it started my personal development and awakening and awareness started when I went to theater school out of high school, and that would have been 1979. So quite a few years ago. And there I learned that I need to let go of what's getting in my way to perform. So as a performer, you need to learn about your response and your habits. So ever since there, I've been on a journey. I moved to England and went on another theater program for 2 years. And in that program, I was introduced to a course called the Alexander Technique, which is a mind-body conscious awareness training. We can go deeper on that, but that's in a nutshell, that's what it covers. And the teacher came up to me like a couple of days later and said, Gary, I think you need to be an Alexander Technique teacher. And I looked at him and I went, I'm 24. I'm here to be an actor, not an Alexander teacher. Well, we go fast forward into my 40s. After I left England, I met up with another teacher. She came and approached me and passed on an application for her school to become an Alexander teacher. So I innately knew how that worked. I worked on my habits and my response mechanism, and that was very innately known. You know, I knew it myself how to work it and how to make it my path forward. And in that time, I had an awakening through an experience at a church through a friend of mine. The sermon was Thorns, Burdens, and Crosses That We Carry. Mm-hmm. The minister said, imagine Christ taking these off your shoulders, hands down. Somebody came behind me, placed their hands on their shoulders, and lifted thorns, burdens, and crosses off my shoulder. I felt it, and I was very emotional. My friends were like going, what's going on? It's like, well, this is what happened. So I told a friend of mine in Vancouver, and she says, you need to go to a spiritual church called Unity. And I went, okay, I'll check it out. And sure enough, as soon as I walked in and heard the minister speak, I'm home. This has felt very right. I learned a lot about metaphysical teaching and spirituality. I also embarked on a 2-year healing touch program through the General Hospital in Vancouver, and that even expanded my awareness of myself and my abilities to assist others in their healing process and their growth of their mind, body, conscious awareness training. Moving fast forward again to Robert and I met. My mother lived with us. She lived with us for about 3.5 years before she transitioned and moved on. She passed away. Mm-hmm. We both never experienced grief before. And this is where I'll pass it over to Robert, because Robert went on the journey first, because he said it was something that he wanted to do. And I said, go, see what it's going to be like. So I'll let Robert carry on with where we started. That's where the start of the company happened.
Yeah. And so I'll rewind and just share a little bit of the growth that I've been through in all facets of my life. And basically, I jokingly say that I grew up in the corporate world and the academic world, and did an undergraduate degree, a master's degree. And during the master's degree, I had an awakening take place, and I had sort of declared to the universe that the only thing I need in my life is science. And that's when I started seeing energy around people, and went for a battery of test specialists and everything. And everyone was like, no, you're fine. No, you're fine. It's like, no, I'm seeing light around people. Like something is not correct here. And then luckily, about 20 years ago, I found a spiritual teacher, and she held my hand when she first met me, and I could feel her reading my energy and feeling into my whole being. And I was trying to like squirm away because I could feel what she was doing. And I recognized that I'm empathic and I can see energy and I can hear energy. And so my scientific corporate background didn't necessarily fall away, but it sort of, I pushed it to the back burner and had an insatiable desire to learn more about everything in the world of mind, body, conscious awareness, spirituality, metaphysics, and how the mind works, how the spirit works, and how the universe works. And then 2015, I started my own coaching business, left the corporate world, but was coaching people in the corporate world and executive career coaching, mindset coaching, whatnot. And then even inside of that, it was a very logical approach to sort of depart the corporate world. And I felt like there was something that was missing. It wasn't quite all there yet. And so I started teaching more metaphysical, spiritual principles and creating programs and courses for people like all over the world. And then Gary's mom passed away. And this is where the story sort of comes together. She passed away, and I had never lived with someone who actually had passed away. Like I've had grandparents and aunts and uncles pass away, but I didn't live with them. So every day I woke up, Gary woke up, and it's like, oh, she's no longer at the end of the hall. And so there was grief, there was depression, and all of the training, all of the work that we had done on ourselves still didn't quite shake the cloud that was sort of surrounding us. And so we say this little fairy human who's quite short. We're both 6'2" and 6'4", so we're quite tall.
She was 5'2".
Yeah. And so she came into our lives very quickly, and she said, I think you might want to work with this medicine man that I just worked with. And I was like, I don't think that's necessarily it. And then it kept coming up and kept coming up. And so I said, okay, I saw the inner guidance of the quintessential image of 5 mushrooms. And I was like, I think I'm going on a journey. And so I spoke with the medicine man, felt a deep resonance with him and how he was going to guide me through that experience, and went and worked with him for 2 full days, had a high level of respect, a high level of intention and integrity for the sacred ceremonies that I stepped into. And I went into those ceremonies to basically honor my spiritual gifts, honor my gifts for myself and for my clients, and came out of that with a high level of devotion and commitment to have those deeper level conversations with people, have those higher level conversations with people. And I had found a new level of joy. The grief and depression had lifted, and I found a deeper and higher purpose. And came out of that experience, and I was at home, and the very next day I was in meditation, and I saw myself training with the medicine man in a spiritual vision. And I was like, oh dear. And the reason I say oh dear is because anytime that I have had a vision in my life, and when I look back, I've always had them. I just didn't equate it to it being a spiritual vision, and I've always followed it. And so I was like, okay, I have to follow this too. And I said, I have no idea what this is going to look like, but this is the guidance that I'm getting. And so the medicine man agreed. And then Gary went on his journey, and that's where I'll pass it back to him to share.
So it was perfect timing. We had time to spread my mother's ashes, have a celebration of life. It was on May 5th. May 6th was my birthday. And I always say it was the best gift I have ever given myself for my birthday, was to go on a journey with the medicine man. It changed my life. It shook the grief off. I was no longer depressed. I came back in alignment, back into my mind, body, and heart, and knew my purpose and direction. So I also had a very similar vision that Robert had. And then I spoke to him, and then we looked at each other as like, what does it look like? We don't know. We'll just expand and grow and develop it into what we're presenting now.
Wow. Quite a journey. And Gary, let's take a step back. And you mentioned about this Alexander technique a while ago.
Yeah.
So can you tell us more about the methodology and how it factors into your plant medicine retreat?
Definitely, it helps the client to embody the work. Most of the time, humans are a little bit out of touch of their arms, their legs, their limbs, and their thinking, and they respond to, let's say, a stimulus or an action or somebody's words, and they respond without thinking or actually taking a moment to stop. A big part is learning to come back into your heart, come into your breath, and that gives you a moment to stop before you respond. So you're going to stop, breathe, then recalibrate your thoughts, and then speak. So with that work, they'll work with me a couple of times over the 4 days that they're with us, and they'll learn how to release and let go of the tension that they're holding in their body. So once they learn that they can let go within the journey process. It goes much deeper, and I wish we had more time to talk about it, but that is sort of in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Can you add anything?
Yeah, the one thing that I'll say is that what happens with the work that Gary does is that the myofascia of the body, the myofascia tissue, people learn how to, I don't want to say control or manipulate, but those are the words that are coming right now. So they learn how to work with the myofascia tissue. And that's when we're holding the myofascia tissue doesn't allow the divine current of the universe to flow through us. We're blocking it. So when we can actually just take some time to lay down and go into a meditative state, we can work with the physical body because it's part of who we are. And when we learn how to regulate the myofascia layers, we're actually letting go of parts of the day and we're opening up to more.
Quite interesting. And either of you can pick this one. So tell us more about the unique approach of the Journeymen Collective in preparing individuals for this shamanic ceremonies and facilitating integration afterward. So what is so unique about you guys?
Yeah, definitely. So our journeys are purpose-driven, and they're purpose-driven for executives, entrepreneurs, and professionals. Because one of the things that, as we were training, one of the things that was shown to us is that we are to work with executives, founders, movers, shakers, actors, athletes, high achievers, people who are at the top of their game and who are having an impact in humanity's course and the course that humanity is on. And part of that is also founded in the guidance that we received that was connected to the fact that what is one thing that every single human does when they get up in the morning? They get up to go to work, or they get up to step into some role that is connected to business. So a big part of what we, again, were guided was to elevate people from business to conscious business. And when people step into conscious business, there's a focus on purpose and passion, and the profits take care of themselves. It's still a part of it, and you have to be mindful of it. However, when someone's purposely and passionately engaged in what they're doing, creativity flows, clarity flows, empowerment flows. And so it's like the purpose-driven journey is like creating a cloud of data that carries you through a preparation phase, an intensive retreat phase, and an integration phase with us. And so we guide you through that whole entire experience. We create context in the preparation for what you're potentially going to experience in the actual guided journey. And then when you're with us in the actual intensive part, we don't call it a retreat, but I just did, because people need to have a symbol in their mind of what an intensive actually is. So it's an intensive retreat. We're with you the entire time. We're working with you the entire time that you're on site at our center. And basically from 8 o'clock in the morning till almost midnight for 4 full days, you're with us and you have your own private, beautiful room. It's a luxurious estate setting. And it's someone that we just worked with said, this is the 4 seasons of journeys. And it's also a boutique as well. So we only work with 1 to 4 people. It's highly focused on people that we are working with. So it's 1 to 4 people, no more than 4 people. And it really allows people to be cared for in a high level way.
Yeah.
And so the big thing is that we are guiding you on the inside. We are guiding you through the inner metaphysical planes of your inner being. The clients will have their eyes closed for 4, 5, 6, 7, possibly 8 hours in ceremony. There's 2 ceremonies, 2 full days of integration. And because we're with you throughout that whole entire, we're with you in the preparation, we're with you in the intensive, and we're with you in the integration. And so there are pieces that are shown to us in the actual intensive experience that the client is present to as well. And then we have a unique ability to recall almost every single journey that we've ever guided when we speak with someone. And so anytime that someone may be coming out of alignment, we will have a recall instantaneously to be like, hey, do you remember this part of your journey? And then they're remembering back in, because humans are notoriously great at forgetting, and we have to expand our ability to remember. So there's different scenes presented in the movie within the mind, what's taking place in that psychedelic shamanic journey. And the information, those scenes are presented for the individual to synthesize, to learn from, to understand, and to actually implement in their life. And the carry through is the most important thing, in that you're actually implementing, you're taking a new action or a non-action, because sometimes you have to stop some things that you were doing that weren't serving you. And so it's that part, that it's an applied integration whereby you as an individual are honoring that sacred ceremony for the rest of your life.
Wow. So one thing that I understood is like you give a lot of personal attention, and most importantly, you guys are driving it with a purpose and so passionately. So that makes you stand apart. And I have one basic question. Why did you name it as the Journeymen Collective?
Well, I was walking in the forest and we're trying to, come up what is the name of our company. Yeah. And we explored a journey with a medicine man. So we thought, okay, it's people we're guiding people on a journey. Then we looked at each other, well, we're men, so let's call ourselves the Journeymen. And what we're gathering is a collective of humans to grow our community. We always say raising up soul communities. So it's like, so we're the Journeymen, we work with everyone, but it's we are the Journeymen Collective, and we raise up soul community.
Superb thought process over there. And Gary and Rob, again, either of you can pick this also. So you both believe in the power of psilocybin or magic mushrooms to help clear out the old energy. So could you share a little more about that idea and how these shamanic journeys allow your guests to unlock more of their potential while creating a deeper impact as more conscious beings?
Yeah, beautiful question. I love it. And so we often say that it's a bit of a trifecta, in that it's the medicine of Rob, it's the medicine of Gary, with the medicine of psilocybin. And if we look at mushrooms in general, what do they do? If you go into the forest and use mushrooms, they actually decompose through their mycelial networks to distribute that energy back into the forest. So it's a bit of a cleansing and a clearing of the old. And we've lost a bit of our culture whereby every, say, 5 to 7 years, we have an initiation into something new. We have superficial graduations, but we don't have those reverential sacred ceremonies. And then people are like 50, 60 years old and they don't understand what's going on. They have pain, they have confusion, and they have unfocused purpose. And the mushroom and the guidance and the time. So for your listeners, like, it's, if you think about it, giving yourself like 7 hours to go into silence, to go into stillness, and allow 2 people to guide you through that silence and that stillness, you will be met with a lot of yourselves. And it gives the individual time to really truly see what's there and clear out clear out karmic relations from past lives and get in touch with your purpose in a very potent and pure way, and see what you're truly here to do in a deeper way. And a lot of people we work with are sort of already on the path, and they want to amplify what they're already doing. So I would say the level of purity increases because the shadow or shadows of self or unconscious habits have been cleared away, or people have become aware of them. And so then they can start to work with it more consciously, as opposed to it just running in the background all the time. And so as a function of that, that deeper clearing takes place. And then as a result, they have a deeper connection within themselves, and they recognize those universal truths of, hey, I'm connected to everything. We are all one. And as a function of that, we teach people how to use their minds, how to use their hearts, how to use their gut brains as well in that trifecta to process any old energy that's coming up in the moment and to create from it. So we believe that the mushroom has been put on the planet for a reason, and we meet it with a high level of respect, a high level of integrity, and a high level of intention and purpose. And that's carried through the whole entire experience. And we believe that some people may only ever need one ceremony in their whole entire life, or one time, if they're working with the Journeymen Collective, or if they're working with someone who has that masterful level of guidance.
So intriguing. And again, I would like to hear from you a success story where someone's transformative journey at the Journeyman Collective had a profound impact on their life, and how it motivated them to create a conscious impact in the world.
We have a lot of stories.
Maybe one thing which really stands out and which is so memorable for you.
So we worked with a physician a number of years ago. So he was in the medical industry, working as a physician behind the desk, writing the prescriptions, doing the typical Western medicine thing. And ever since he left school, he was like, I don't necessarily want to do this, but everyone told him, no, this is what you have to do. You can't go and do what you really want to do. So he recognized that part of what was holding him back was that there was some trauma that was in his early teenage years. We helped him really look at that, unpack it, unfurl it, and it was impacting his physical being as well. And then once he was able to release that trauma, which I think was a big block for him stepping forward into his true purpose, he let go and said, okay, I'm going to actually go and do that thing that I really want to do. And I want to go and buy my own home that'll function as a retreat center in a totally different part of the world. He left his hometown. He left his career for a new position and bought his own home and retreat center. And now he is a massive pillar in the community that he's now in. And people love him. People respect him. He's doing what he really wants to do. He's doing hands-on healing work. He just messaged me a couple of days ago and said, you're never going to believe what's happening. But it's finally happening where medicine is catching up. The Western medicine is catching up and seeing that I have a gift that can be offered to the world in a unique way and really, truly help people empower themselves. And that's a big thing that he really wanted to do, was empower others. And gosh, he also has a loving fiance. And there's just so many things that are happening for him. And this is a common occurrence. And I think there's an overarching trend with all of our clients. They start to witness that the clues and the breadcrumbs are always being delivered by the universe, the cosmos, and they start to be able to read the signs in a different way and not just be like, oh, a skunk just ran across my path. And they have the curiosity to wonder, like, oh, what does that actually mean? And then they learn about it. And there's I think what would you say the overarching trend of most people would be?
Most people believe in calmness, stillness, peace, contentment, more joy, more being here in the moment, present, conscious of their thoughts, and how they use their words.
Yeah. Nice. I could see that. I could sense it live in both of you. And this has been incredible conversation so far. And it's time for us to add some more spice, some more excitement. So let me bring in the second rapid fire round. And this time it's not about random words, but some intriguing questions. So I'll kick off the first bullet. I'll fire the first bullet out of rapid fire round. So if you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say? So both of you can answer one by one.
Maybe it would be, remember who you've come here to be.
Wow. Remember who you are come here to be. Gary?
It's on my running shoes. Just be.
Just be. Wow. And what's one thing that you are really bad at that you wish you were better or good at?
I think I have a lot of ideas and I can get distracted by them. And so I'm still learning how to harness all of those horses from all the different dimensions where there's a lot of information coming in. So that would be one thing.
Really bad at. I'm good at everything. I would love to always enhance my cooking skills because I love cooking. I've cooked all my life. So it's like every time I'm learning something new about food. And I think that's ever growing, ever evolving. So,
but he's an amazing chef.
So I'm not bad. I just want to get better and better and better. Yeah, definitely.
Nice. And Rob, can you describe yourself in just one word?
One word.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Monadic.
Wow. Gary?
Steadfast. Is that 2 words? That's one.
That's fine. It's accepted. And the next one is, what's your favorite thing about living in the current times, the 21st century?
My favorite thing is having people come into our center and I'm going to get emotional. Having people come into our center and see the massive shift that takes place just in that 4 short days, that from the time that they walk in to the time that they leave, and the massive level of transformation that they have embodied, and they have access to that potent power within that they may not have had, and just feeling that and seeing that, and you can see the shift on all levels. So for me, that's, I think, my favorite thing when we have what we call our graduation dinner, and just sitting there and the dust has sort of settled, or it's settling in. And I'm just usually in awe of the level of transformation that has been embodied.
Yeah, I'd have to say it's the same thing. It's like, even if they haven't been on a journey with us and we meet people and they are in our presence, I mean, we're amazed at transformation that occurs just being with us. It's not coming from ego. It's just like we're just being us, and us being us is authentic. And that authenticity seems to let the people that we're with open up and share and learn more about themselves, even unknowingly. They're being transformed, because we get calls the next day and say, the dinner was great, but this is what happened after I left your home. And we're amazed. Those stories are just as amazing as the ones that our clients that come and experience a journey. So,
and this is one of the most enchanting conversations that I've ever had on this show. And let me fire the next bullet out of the rapid fire. So if you could have any superpower, what would it be and why? We'll start with Rob again.
Teleportation.
Teleportation. How about you, Gary?
Well, the first thing, invisibility. Invisible. I think that occurs sometimes.
What would be the first thing that you would do after going invisible?
Exploration of the world is like, I liked like a fly on the wall. I wonder what it would be like to be here when this conversation is happening, being in those parts of the world, to see other interactions, but not be in the present, but be there just an observer. It's not being a spy. It's just learning from observing others.
Yeah.
Got it. And I think I have that ability anyway, from what I hear sometimes. Gary, you disappeared. And I really.
Okay. Here comes the last one for rapid fire. And I think Rob has already answered partly to this one. So, Rob, it is up to you if you want to pick up one more. But here comes my question. Like, what is one electronic gadget or a fantasy gadget that you would like to see or invent yourself?
Well,
maybe you both have to invent.
Teleportation definitely is like to travel to other places within the cosmos.
I think we had that ability millions of years ago, but we forgot how to tap into it.
Yeah.
That is innately within us, but we just have to get out of the way to make it happen. A gadget.
Fabulous. And let's flip back.
I'll add another one.
Yeah, sure.
I would love a gadget or an electronic device that could capture the whole entire vision of what's transpiring inside the mind of another as they're actually going through a journey. So what they're actually seeing in the journey. I would love to be able to capture that.
Because everybody asks us, is there a way of capturing it? And it's like, no, you're the only one who's going to capture the vision that you see. Mm-hmm. We're going to share it. So,
what's your gut feel? Is there a possibility where that kind of device is going to come?
Oh well, if we can think it, it probably is already being invented somewhere in the world. Somebody's trying to create it, or it's been created and it's not ready to be shared with the world.
Yeah, makes sense. And let's flip back to the mainstream. So in closing, what message or piece of wisdom would you like to share with our audience regarding the potential for personal growth, healing, and conscious transformation through the use of psychedelic plant-based medicine as well as spiritual practices?
I would say do your due diligence, know who you're stepping into a journey with, and be certain that they are going to take care of you at a very high level, in a very caring and a very sacred way. And there's nothing to be scared of. You will only meet yourself in many different ways. And just be certain that they are the person for you.
I always say, you listeners, take away anything from this is learn to stop, breathe, come into your heart. I always say, think with your heart, love with your mind.
Wow. Think with your heart and love with your mind. Fabulous. And I'm so fortunate to have this conversation with you guys today. I feel this like a blessing, a true blessing. And before I let you go, how is your experience being hosted on the Guiding Voice platform? Anything to improve? I'm open for public feedback.
No, it was great. When the little break in between the video was like, this is fun. As we both said, we love your energy. It's great. You present very well. We love having this conversation with you, and it's very uplifting and very, very, very motivating. I think hopefully your listeners pick up on that too.
Yeah, and like I can feel you, and you're engaged, and you're intrigued, and you're listening at a very deep level. And you're taking it all in at a very deep level as well, and you're processing it. And like we can usually feel when someone isn't able to process, it's like that sound of a car coming to a screeching halt. They're like, so. And with you, we can sense that you're able to you have that aptitude to process at that level. So it's really, really lovely.
It's great.
Yeah, keep doing what you're doing.
Sure. Thank you so much once again for being part of the Guiding Voice journey in shaping the careers and lives of millions across the globe. And Rob and Gary, sincerely appreciate you being part of this show. And really, thank you so much for your time and all the wonderful insights. I wish more power to you in terms of making this world a conscious one, wherein people can realize their potential. More power to you.
Really.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Sure. So, friends, that was our episode with Rob and Gary. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request. In case if you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast from wherever you have tuned in from, because subscribing keeps you updated on new episodes. And if you have enjoyed this conversation, please share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who would also like the guiding voice. Spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you. And your support means a lot. It helps us create more content for you and our community. So let's learn together on this journey. So today we had an amazing conversation about shamanic connections and also integration, unleashing the potential, and the role of medicines and many more. So I thought I would present you about psychedelics. And this is the first time I'm mentioning about psychedelics on the Guiding Voice platform. So if we consider the historical use of psychedelics, they have been used for thousands of years by various cultures for spiritual, religious, and also healing purposes. And substances like psilocybin mushrooms and peyote have been used by indigenous people in rituals as well as ceremonies. Now let's talk about LSD discovery. Lysergic acid diethylamide was first synthesized by Swiss chemist Albert Hofmann in 1938. He discovered its psychedelic effects accidentally in 1943 while conducting experiments on its medicinal properties. And the third one is about psychedelic renaissance. The 21st century has been a psychedelic renaissance with renewed research interest in substances like psilocybin, MDMA, and ketamine for mental health conditions like depression, PTSD, anxiety, and addiction. So here comes my question. Do you believe in these psychedelics and related medicines? If so, leave your comments. If you're watching it on YouTube, you can comment it directly there. Or if you have found this episode on any social media platform, you can comment there. I'm going to review them for sure. And folks, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending your time listening or watching this episode. And also thank you for being part of our awesome community. I would love to hear from you. Do not forget to share your ideas as well as feedback either through social media, or you can also email us at theguidingvoiceforyou@gmail.com. I'm your host Naveen Samala, a lifelong learner, and my goal is to have impactful conversations that improve not only your life but also your career. And stay connected as we journey together. Until next time, take care and stay inspired. Remember, the future holds great things because the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest.